sen na asa song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 463. It's Sunday, February 10th, 2013, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Internet talk radio for your imagination. Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today we hear from Madame Rutabaga, Valentino, Bison Bentley. Plus we bring you the segment News Random featuring a final heave-ho to this year's flu season. Mike's Daily Podcast. And people in some parts of California are opposing roundabouts, but not for any good reason. Mike's Daily Podcast. Other than they can't drive. I mean, roundabouts are pretty simple, right? They're self-explanatory. You drive around in a circle till you exit. But some people, they come up to one and they panic. What am I supposed to do? Oh my gosh, I've never seen one of these. I have never driven in Europe. But here in California, there's some dopes that banned it in a county called Cotati. Mike's Daily Podcast. The people in that county actually voted on and passed last November a ban on roundabouts because they have to go potty. Mike's. And those are really daily an obstruction to podcast getting home as quickly as possible. Yeah! No, they're not. They're just, you just figure out the rules. The rules are pretty self-explanatory, and I'm sorry, the rest of the world has roundabouts, so why are you banning them in your little progressive town somewhere near Sonoma County? It's crazy. All that money you're spending on to go wine tasting in that area, and that money goes towards stupid people that vote on prohibiting roundabouts. Unless they're prohibiting that Yes song Roundabout. Then I'm really furious, because that's a pretty cool song. It's a long jam. I like it. Oh, look, who just walked in. Hello, Michael Matthews. This is Madame I do the roundabout, Bega. I'm Madame Rutabaga. So, do you know how to drive at a roundabout? Yes, Michael Matthews. When you come up to the roundabout, you yield to any cars coming, but you don't stop unless there's a car and you don't want to create an accident. Yeah, it's versus a four-way stop where people actually have to stop. This actually kind of allows you the opportunity to keep moving if the current conditions allow so. Yes, Michael Matthew. When I lived in Alabama, there was a roundabout, and people got through the roundabout just fine there in Huntsville, Alabama. People used it all the time. My wife had to yell at me a couple of times because I was getting it wrong, but... Ha ha ha, that's funny that she yelled at you. And then in Germany, when we were driving in Germany, there were roundabouts everywhere. And the first couple ones, I kind of panicked, but then I was able to figure it out. Well, Michael Matthew, remind me never to drive with you. Okay, I will. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Guys, are you upset about the disappearance of the website called Bang with Professionals?
No, I was not familiar with this particular website there.
Well, apparently it was a website that used LinkedIn, and for those who were looking for a, shall we say, hookup, they would use this website to find someone that possibly they worked with that they could enjoy. Wow, Mike, that sounds really sleazy. Do you know that? They garnered 73,281 visitors, which is more than Mike'sDailyPodcast.com will ever see.
That's for sure.
And they decided to close up, saying, quote, "It was only a matter of time before our API key was revoked. Don't worry, your data was safe all along. We just deleted all of our user IDs, and the only thing that will be left is this landing page."
Wow, with all that technology talk I have no idea about, I'm sure glad I never logged on to that day.
Yeah, me too. Wait a minute, did I? I don't know. I don't know that. Do you know that? No, Bison, you should keep track of what you do on the internet. Oh, no. Ah! He just jumped through the window.
Good. His cologne was starting to bother me there.
Well, if you don't know what Bang with Professionals is and are thankful about that, or you're fed up with roundabouts, or you love roundabouts, whatever your opinion, email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We'll read your comments on the section Emails from Email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you would like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We also have the website as I just mentioned, mikesdailypodcast.com. That features a link to where you can find us on iTunes and subscribe to the show and rate the show in iTunes. It helps us get more noticed by the other podcast searching people. Also, you can find our Facebook page, where to Yelp about us, where to find our tweets, and where to watch our Mike's Daily Podcast TV on YouTube. All those links at mikesdailypodcast.com, plus where we are heard on the internet radio stations, knjoradio.com and xrqk.com/Los Angeles. You can hear us on those internet radio stations, links to those, and our blog and podcast pictures at mikesdailypodcast.com.
News Random.
In the newspaper Staying Healthy, which is a throwaway newspaper, and their winter 2013 edition, or is it 2013? I can't get used to saying that. They discussed proper flu etiquette tips. And this on the toes. Wait, what's the end of something? On the butt of the flu epidemic, as it is starting to wane quickly, it's good to keep up on these for the next time we have another one of these, and hopefully to possibly contain the next epidemic. It says, when the flu hits, manners may not be the first thing that come to mind, yet good flu etiquette and hygiene can go a long way. While most Americans recognize that the flu virus spreads easily, they admit to sometimes forgetting their manners. A 2011 survey of more than 1,000 Americans found that 3 out of 4 Americans would go to a social situation, at least one social situation, if they had symptoms of the flu. One. They would appear even with the flu. Here in the Bay Area, where we have a huge Asian population, there is a certain politeness etiquette that goes on when a lot of Asian Americans are wearing these masks over their faces. If they're sick or they don't want to get sick, they don't spread the disease, they don't catch the flu virus either. You see that around. And in fact, yesterday I was driving across the San Mateo Bridge in the Bay Area, and I saw someone actually wearing a mask while in their car with the windows rolled up. He was being especially considerate or paranoid. I don't know. But the Emily Post Institute offers the following etiquette tips to manage common situations where the flu virus might be spread from one person to another. Number 1, share space, not the flu. Covering sneezes and coughs is a good habit all year round, and especially during the flu season. The flu virus can spread up to 6 feet away from coughing, sneezing, or even just talking. Number 2, know when to take a sick day. The flu is highly contagious, and the people you work with don't want to get sick. Now, this is something interesting. In radio, no one ever followed that rule. People would get sick. We all used the same studio for at least 4 hours a day, and we would constantly be getting sick. And the microphones have these big foam covers on them that catch diseases like crazy. So people would try to combat that by spraying Lysol on the foam covers, and those would cause them to smell horrible. That pure Lysol smell just makes me gag. But those are the fun times in radio. Number 3, in tight quarters, if someone is sitting close to you that has the flu and there's no other seat available, consider saying, I can see you're not feeling well. Would you mind covering your mouth when you cough? Thanks. Most people, when prompted, are eager to show good manners and to do the right thing. Oh, and they also, in this article, strongly suggest that parents teach their kids good manners. How many times have you seen a kid just coughing on it? And how many parents do you know get sick from their kids constantly? Like, as soon as their kid gets sick, they're like, oh, I guess I'm going to get sick in a couple days. They just accept it. And they have a free download coloring book to teach kids in a fun way how to have good, healthy anti-influenza habits. You can get that coloring book at flufacts.com. California, not so bad with the flu. However, the further east you go, when I lived in Alabama, the first year I lived there, when the winter hit, in fact, it was about this time, I think it was 2008, about this time, I got the worst flu, and it stuck with me for a month, and I felt the worst ever. So hopefully you did not catch the flu this year. As we go outside the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Everybody cover your mouth.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I have this thing about Jack London Square Harbor. It's really easy to get to from Podcastro Valley, California. You hop on BART, and you can be there in about 30 minutes. And it doesn't cost too much. And then you walk there, and you can catch a beautiful sunset. And that's what I caught the other day. I also had a picture taken there in the last podcast picture. But this one is focusing primarily right at that moment when the sunset was just going nuts. And there was somebody in their boat, and the water was reflecting, and it was very cool, very magical. So there you go. And I mentioned I should probably start a coffee table book with all these pictures I've taken of Jack London Square.
Michael Matthew, Jack London was an author who wrote a lot about dogs.
Yes, he did. Writing books about dogs. I think that's a great idea. I think I should I'm going to write a book about you, Basil. Oh. He just said, no, don't you dare. I'll sick my lawyers on you. How ironic.
Mike, I just realized that I did not, in fact, have any kind of contact with professionals that came. Do you know that?
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, we're really relieved to hear that, Bison Bentley. Dang.
Thanks, Valentino. I'd rather meet women the right way. At a bowling alley wet t-shirt contest. Do you know that? Michael Matthews, this could go on forever. Like a roundabout.
Americans and roundabouts are like Californians in rain. Get ready for insurance rates to go up. But eventually, after the learning curve, we will, in fact, learn to take the curb that goes on infinitely. The infinite loop of driving.
Well, Mike, that's profound. Lead dumb. Dang.
Tomorrow we will bring you the segment Masterpod Theater, plus we'll hear from Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer.
Haha, that's funny that she yelled at you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!